Hey guys, good afternoon.
Have you ever signed an oyster before?
Once, I guess now. One half shell. The other side was painted gold, by the way. It was actually, you did a pretty good job. Cleaned it out pretty good. How do you eat your oysters? Do you?
I've never been a huge oyster guy, but I like them raw. I like them raw when it goes.
Okay.
But not this time of year.
No, probably not.
Foster, the LCL utilizing more two tight end sets this year compared to in the past. What would you compare it to maybe when you were in the Raiders or different type of offenses utilizing two tight ends?
I see us being multiple, certainly. I don't know if that's exactly going to be our bread and butter, but if it is, that's obviously exciting for me. I love when guys from my room get on the field, and we'll just have to see when we're shooting real bullets.
Now that he's back, just what does Juwan add to the tight end room that was missing previously when he was rehabbing?
Yeah, Juwan's got unbelievable juice. One of my favorite teammates that I'll ever play with. The guy just brings just a different twitch, a different speed factor, and he's just got a mentality, man. He's got a mindset, especially on game day. Like he comes out and it's really a do not F with me type mentality. But he brings that to practice and he brings that to our offense.
How are you feeling health-wise this year versus how you played last year, or what you had to play?
Yeah, I actually got a full off season this year. Still had an ankle hang up that I was kind of working through, but last year I played. What was it? I played 13 out of 15 games with big, 3D printed ankle brace on my right ankle, and that was a whole trip in and of itself. But I feel great, and credit our medical team. Those guys day in day out. Those guys are I promise you, they work harder than just about anyone in this building.
When you say a 3D printed brace, was it like a custom situation?
Yeah, it's a little complicated to explain. It was kind of a more niche injury, but yeah, they essentially trying to create a buffer between where my peroneal retinacular tendon wouldn't flip over my ankle bone, and so we're pressing hard with this 3D printed brace that we had made, and shaving the ankle part, double-sided tape, pressing that thing in there, and then retaping over it, and it's like the Iron Giant for a few weeks until I got used to it. But credit those guys. I wouldn't have had any knowledge or fathom any way that I could have been playing. It's not really something that you normally play through, but we were experimental and we got through it.
What kind of led you to the place where you were comfortable being experimental and playing through something like that? It sounds like something that people don't typically play through.
Just the faith that some guys put in me to just be able to fight through injury and have enough of a pain tolerance, right? But also the trust that I had in our trainers that these guys would come up with a number of solutions, and we're going to exhaust every option until we found one that fit. And if it had to be surgery, it had to be surgery. But again, all the credit to those guys. They work. The earliest and the latest hours of genuinely almost anyone in the building, and they receive no credit. So this is me trying to do my small part and giving them a little bit.
Did you do any kind of surgery or anything over the off season to get past it?
Yeah, I did. I had one in late January.
Did the brace go on after the Carolina game?
That was that injury. Yeah.
How do you balance, your concern for your personal health and yet a sense you want to play, obligation to your teammates, help your team out, and everything? How do you balance that with an injury?
That's a really good question, and everyone has a different answer, right? But for me, this game's given me everything I've ever had, and I have to repay it in any possible way that I can. And even when I was back in Vegas with the Raiders, I consider it. There's anywhere from 55 to 70,000 people are going to come and pay to watch you play football on a daily basis, and that's nothing that I ever could have dreamed of when I was 12 years old. So, you go back to the old XFL, the XFL quarterback, I forget his name, but asking himself two questions like, all right, question one, do I have a pulse? Yes. Question two, am I alive and active on game day? Yes. Okay, so let's go play football. It's not necessarily to that demeanor, but if I'm healthy, I'm playing. And if I could run, I'll play.
So you say everyone has a different answer. Does it ever cause, do those different answers ever cause tension within a team?
I feel like you'd think they would, right? Because you kind of want everyone to hold the same standard, right? But no one really pays mind to that, if that makes sense. Like, if a guy's not able to go and it's a serious enough injury to where he finds it that he can't play, or he risks either further injuring himself or harming the team, like that can only be viewed from his lens, right? Perspective is everything in that mind. And for my injury, if it could have gotten worse, I would have had to have had surgery. But at the point I wasn't risking other injury by playing through an ankle, right? And plenty of other guys play through injuries. I am certainly not alone. Guys are playing through injuries right now on our team, trying to get to a preseason game to get film on tape. Like, that's the nature of the beast, because roster spots are valuable.
Foster, how would a lot of fans are excited about the new offense, Clint Kubiak's scheme. How would, maybe for them that have watched 2 preseason games and are wondering a little more about it, I know you're not going to give away any secrets, but can you describe maybe the difference in what we're seeing now and maybe what we will see for fans that might be wondering?
I'd say for Coach Kubiak, and generally for most of the league, guys are going to call their base scheme and a lot of their base fronts and coverages in the preseason, right? Because a lot of the times we're gonna call a lot of our bread and butter stuff, because we want to see, like, these new players, these rookies, first-year guys, like, how are you going to operate under our scheme, right? So we have a new coach, so it's the first year for all of us, right? So we all have to kind of understand how to operate with most of our base calls, right? Now, we're not going to go out there and call, like, 4 out of 6 passes that are on page, like, 205 in the pass install, right? But we're probably going to keep it to the front 50 pages of run and pass install books, and we'll figure it out from there.
How valuable was that 95-yard touchdown drive against San Francisco from a development standpoint with the new offense? Yeah,
for me, it was very valuable. I fucking jumped off sides like an idiot on the very first play of the game. So I was really looking for something. If I only played 10 snaps and we went 3 and out for all of them, I was going to be furious. But no, all jokes aside, that was big, and it was great to see the offense in motion when we did have, I won't call them live bullets, I'll call them rubber bullets. But we're bringing guys to the ground and we're tackling, and it was fun getting a taste of how he sees certain situations, and how Coach Allen wants to kind of call the game. And we'll see if we want to be that aggressive on 4th down and plus territory, but that's all something that we're going to have to come to in this preseason game and when the Bullets are live in week 1.
How exactly it was just to see the running game going like it was on that drive especially?
It's awesome. In this game, everyone's going to equate passing, right? You pass to score in this league. That's a no-brainer. And if you score more points than your opponent, you're going to win. But in this game, you run the ball to win, right? If you can't run the ball, you can't control the game. You can't control the clock. You have to control the running game either offensively or defensively, or I mean, you're going to have a terrible day, and you're going to come in on Monday and you're going to watch terrible film. So for us, being able to put the ball on the ground and actually get behind our big O line, some hardworking tight ends, and some really strong and like explosive backs, like that's what we want to do. And when we get a chance, we'll throw the ball over their heads.
What was the response in the film review on your block on the toss crap?
Yeah, it was good. No, it was a good play. He just, I got a good play. He was looking at the ball. It's a good snap.
Is that the mentality that you want to bring to, the physicality and the mentality that you would like to see on the run game?
Sure, yeah, but even more, that's my job, right? That's like, if you look at my job description, that's going to be in there, right? But then you see me, and that's great. But if you look on the outside, and I have the pin, right? But Cedric has the wall on the transportation series, and Ced's blocking a linebacker. So Ced goes in there, sticks his face in there. You got Lucas Patrick pulling around, and he pins his guy, and then 21 can just find an easy gap for a near explosive run. Like that's where it really gets fun, right? Where you have guys that are mismatched, and they are able to do their jobs effectively and efficiently.
How does
Going
that
back to the
carry
way-
over? Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Going back to the way you colorfully talked about it, but plays like that, the self-inflicted wounds were real drive killers for y'all last year. So, how much of a boost was it, or what does it say about this team's progress and being able to overcome your own, drive killers more or less to score like that?
Yeah. No team in this league is going to go very far if they're playing behind the sticks. Right? You could do it as much as you want. Maybe one or two teams can operate really efficiently from back there. But that's not the type of football we're trying to play, and that's not really winning football. So for all 32 teams in this league, all 128 teams in the D1 AA, it's like that's pivotal, right? Like that's massive.
At least you weren't lined up both sides, right?
I've been there, yeah. Yeah.
I wondered if you could just give us your perspective on Derek in his second year, and you've known him a long time as a teammate, and then you're from here, and you probably have a really good sense of the fan attitudes towards him. How do you feel like all that's going?
I mean, it's complicated, right? It's complicated, and I've been just about everywhere as a Saints fan through my entire life, right? From as early as I can remember, it was Aaron Brooks, but as late as I can remember, obviously it was Drew. And it's hard because there's an extremely high level of expectation, so accountability has to be up. And I do believe this year that our accountability is up. So it'll be interesting to see how we respond. But I think Derek looks great. I think he's had a great camp. I think most all of my teammates would echo that sentiment. And I'm excited to watch us work.
That being said, your accountability seems like you're like the accountability enforcer out there, it seems. Was that more of a point to on your part this year? I know you're always vocal.
I think I'm just the loudest, I'll be honest. That's what DA would tell me. But, I don't know. There's plenty of guys who shed tons of accountability on people. I just have a little bit of knowledge, and I'd be remiss if I didn't try to share it, because I love these guys and I care a lot about these guys, and I want us to be great, and I want us to win a lot of games. And it doesn't happen if someone isn't holding someone accountable. So if it's me sometimes, right? And I don't really like being that guy because I love everyone, but sometimes you get a little red ass.
Also, when you look at this season, how important is it? How important is it? I mean, how bad do y'all want to just kind of do this win for DA, because to kind of quiet some of the noise around the city?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there is a lot of noise, and again, back to expectations. We're a good football team with a good roster, with experienced players, and we need to make the playoffs, and we need to make a push in the playoffs, right? So good enough is never really truly good enough. So you could have a winning season all you want. You could have all these accolades and all these stats and all these Pro Bowlers, but there's one winner in this league, and then there's a whole lot of losers, right? And you could do that as long as you want. But for us, we're trying to win. We're trying to win now. That is apparent and obvious to everyone. Cool. Thanks, guys.